Okay, so this is Gloria, episode 1. We're talking about the meeting from January 14th. When I heard there was going to be a meeting, I was like, fine, I'm going to bring my camera. And then for the past 3 weeks, I've been watching this video of the meeting over and over and over to try and understand. And there is a win-win solution, a situation where everyone wins, just staring at us in the face. They make it sound like it's a mutually exclusive situation.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know the building's for sale. This is the major asset of Gloria's estate.
To lose this building and to lose the arts in West Chelsea would be a shame. It would be a disgrace. We've shaped this neighborhood.
Is it possible that someone can come in and turn this building into a residential?
I owe so much of my life to Gloria and to the years in this building.
She did understand that it may not be practical to keep this building in every instance.
Gloria and Raymond made the will, but somehow, somewhere, we gotta move along.
I'm 28, I'm not ready to move on. I'm just starting my career.
People who are in charge of executing her wishes are under scrutiny, and they have to abide by a lot of rules.
It seems you're close to being within the constraints of those rules and satisfying the desire that Gloria expressed here.
We're not looking for charity here. I think a lot of us want some sort of security, and having a 180-day out clause on new leases is not that kind of security. And if there's any way that the estate could grant us that security, I think a lot of us would be very appreciative of that.
You, as an executor, need to make a judgment call, and I don't know you that well. But I feel like it would be helpful because there's a room here that just wants to come up with a solution.
Are you prioritizing offers that will keep the building as it is, keep this staff working here?
I don't have too much leeway. I have some discretion, but not too much leeway.
What's the problem?
The building has to be sold.
The building is being marketed with the opportunity to kick us all out.
When someone dies, things change. You don't have the same discretion.
Why are you doing something different than what she wanted?
I am more sensitive than anyone in this room can imagine about what the Naftalis wanted in their lives and what they wanted to leave.
Excuse me, what is the point of this meeting? To calm us down because there are...
I didn't ask for the meeting. We responded to a request to come and answer questions. That's why we're here.
The tenants here have the option to start looking for new spaces. You won't like it if most of us leave. Maybe you will. The building will be more valuable. There'll be no tenants.
Give me something concrete to go with. I'm not here as an adversary, but I'm not here as an idiot either.
Maybe it's too much work to sustain.
This is not a productive conversation. We didn't come here for this.
So that wasn't the worst of it. I left out the finger pointing and the accusations and but these two guys are Derek Wallman and Dominic Porto. They're both the co-executors of Gloria's estate. So their job.
And they have fiduciary duties.
Absolutely.
Like that's the thing. Like they have professional responsibilities.
Yeah. The struggle that these guys have is that on the one hand they're required, they're obligated to maximize the value of the estate as they transfer that wealth from the estate to the foundation. To make a building more marketable, it's probably common practice to insert a 180-day out clause in all leases. It makes sense, it's more marketable. It saves the new buyer a lot of money if there's that clause in all those leases. And that's what they did immediately after she died. And that's I would say the biggest action they took that contradicts what they're saying. If they say they want to fulfill her wish to maintain the building, so in her will she said, "It is my wish, but I impose no legal obligation."
Right, I saw that. And that's a distinction.
That's a distinction. So they're going to fulfill their legal obligations first and foremost, and then if they can, they'll do their best to grant her that last wish of hers. So she said the foundation should not be legally required to maintain this building. That doesn't mean someone else can't be legally required to carry on her vision. The way he says, he's like, it's never been run as a profitable organization.
And the foundation is, last I heard, it's a
Not for
nonprofit.
profit. I know. It makes no sense.
Okay. So
It makes no sense.
hold your horses on
Yeah.
that, right?
They haven't given us much confidence that they will execute her wish at all. They say they are, but their actions aren't really in line with what they're saying. Doesn't appear that way, at least. I think it's a question of liquidity.
Yeah.
That if 95% of the foundation's wealth is tied up in this depreciating asset, this real estate, they don't have enough liquidity to meet their minimum requirements for giving and pay taxes. Now, our argument as tenants is, well, let's make it profitable. Let's figure out a way to restructure this building so that you're making more than you're spending. You're coming out ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And that they argued that would just bankrupt the foundation in the short term, and then the foundation would be done. They'd be going out of business. That's what they said. It makes sense from an investment point of view, that if all of this wealth, 100% of this wealth, is invested, then they can continue to grow those funds and continue to donate every year in perpetuity. If this building were like 30% of the portfolio and the rest were investments, I think they could do both. I'm not questioning, they understand their financials better than anyone. So when they say that the best thing to do to create a foundation that exists in perpetuity is to sell the building, I believe them. And if they argue that to keep the building in the foundation and essentially tie up 95% of the wealth in real estate would then bankrupt the foundation, I would believe that too. I don't see the numbers, they do, so I have to take their word on it. We should be focusing our attention not on whether Derek and Dominic are going to fulfill Gloria's wish, but we should be focused on how. The building is going to be sold. That is a done deal. So really the only question we should be asking ourselves is, how do we fulfill Gloria's vision? There's only two ways that they're going to be able to meet their fiduciary responsibilities to the foundation and also fulfill Gloria's wish. One is to restructure their financials so that they can maintain a building and also invest. Or they find a like-minded buyer. And a like-minded buyer in this case is not somebody who says they're going to keep the artists here and then find sneaky ways to evict them over the next 5 years, but somebody who's actually committed to working with artists. When I got behind during the pandemic, I had to negotiate with the lawyers on how to pay it back. So for over a year, I was paying arrears. But during that year, I wasn't able to meet the monthly schedule. And so I was incurring late fees, and then, long story short, I ended up paying everything off by the deadline. And they forgave all my late fees. Like, they were working with me. These guys are fair. They're good landlords, and we need to find another landlord that continues that sort of, I wouldn't say generosity, but patience.
Sure.
You know,
and
like this.
understanding. It's understanding of who their tenants are.
Exactly. I mean, Emilio said it really well. We're not looking for charity. We're not looking for a hand. We're not looking just, please subsidize our loan so I can, work for free or live for free here. No, we want to pay our rent. Right. We want to sell paintings more than you do. We want a landlord that can work with us.
Yeah.
Look, the Times article is good because it draws attention to this situation. And hopefully it will attract a benevolent billionaire who wants to support the arts, who wants to invest in real estate, and wants to figure out how to restructure a lease to accommodate artists like me that don't have a steady job. I don't have anything other than the sales from art. And I don't have my cushion anymore. So how are you going to work with me and be patient so that I can pay you what you deserve, right? Yeah. That's a discussion we can have, but we can't get there until these co-executors commit to fulfilling Gloria's wish. And they're not willing to do that yet because they're putting their necks on the line if they do.
Yep.
Once the artists started moving in here, this became a community. And since then, I mean, look at the neighborhood now. We've got the best galleries in the world are just in the.
Yeah, it's like all on the street. It's really
this whole
cool.
this is like this is the capital of the art world right here, and we're
I don't come
smack
here enough
dab in
because
the
I don't have enough money. But if I were
Yeah.
to, you know, like if I were to have some money to spend, this is where I'd come, and just
Right.
it's like all here.
Yeah, but back then it was run down. It was like meat packing. It was not a nice neighborhood, and they came in and established like the art
Yeah.
world here. This is like such a unique building. It's really one of a kind. You don't find a building that is packed with artists and galleries and art restoration and architects and designers all in one place.
And how many artists would you say, do you know like the exact number or approximate? How many people are literally here?
Well, there are.
That's hard to know because your studio has 2 people.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But,
so
you know,
it's roughly about 200 artists, but that's not including the subtenants. I think it's great that all of our elected officials are against the sale of this building.
or at least potentially restricting the sale.
Or restricting it in a way. But public opinion is on the side of keeping this art community here. And the lawyers, Derek and Dominic, are on that side as well. They want that to happen. They're just wishing and hoping right now. They're not putting pen to paper and making it happen. That's the only difference.
And I can commiserate with that.
I mean, time will tell.
Duties, yeah.
Time will tell whether or not they grant Gloria's wish.
Well, so I think, part of your strategy here is a publicity campaign to get awareness, to sort of,
I'm more
highlight.
I'm more cynical than that. I mean, yes, if these videos and these artist profiles telling the story of Gloria through the artists in this building, telling Gloria's legacy one video at a time, could absolutely attract the right buyer to this building. But more cynically, I'm assuming we're out in a year, and so I'm going to document this last chapter of Gloria's legacy before it completely dismantles.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm not as optimistic as others.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do these videos no matter what. I'm preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. Of course we're hoping for the best. I'm making videos about all the different stories of this building, this community. So I'm already booked for the next week, interviewing, doing studio visits, visiting people, listening to their stories, listening to them tell stories about Gloria and Raymond, listening to their story on how they got into the building and what it means to them. That's what I'm doing with my time. I've stopped painting. This whole thing is going to be dedicated to Gloria.